Welcome back to the Closed Screening Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Chase Mahan, Mohun, however you want to say it. With me, as always, is Zach Chasteen, Nicholas Schuff. I'm talking a little expeditiously because Zachary, right before I hit record, said we need to get this thing going because he has Hogwarts Legacy to play. We were initially going to be talking about Tar today. We're not because
But that movie sucks ass.
didn't fucking watch it. I was too busy. So we're gonna talk about whatever. Fucking
We're switching our.
critic. We're talking about Avatar 2, Top Gun, Maverick, Elvis, and Zach's gonna give us a little thing about the Fablemans. But before any of that, even though we just chatted for 20 minutes, what are you guys up to? What are you watching?
What are we watching?
So I'm in a particular headspace right now because I've been watching The Sopranos, currently almost done with season 2, but
This is a movie podcast. This is not a television podcast.
just watched The Godfather, Francis Ford Coppola's. That's what I'm saying. I'm getting there. I've been watching The Godfather.
Zachary?
Have you seen it? You finished it, or you have just been watching?
Yeah, just watched it. Just watched it.
So the first one, or like all three?
Oh, just the first one.
Thoughts?
The first time I watched it, I had to watch it in a couple sittings. I can't remember. I think I must have watched it at work. But being able to watch it from start to finish was awesome. I completely understand now why it's one of the best films of all time. Amazing.
We gotta make them an weekend reviews.
Dude, I feel like like I said, my headspace is not good right now. Like I feel like I'm
Michael,
easily angered. I'm ready to kill someone. I'm ready to talk a certain way. Yes.
You could have been a doctor.
All of it.
You could have been a lawyer. I never wanted this for you, my boy.
It's so
Was
good.
that good?
Yeah. Highly recommend The Godfather. Great rewatch. Glad I did it.
They massacred my boy.
Here's.
We should talk about The Godfather because that's a crazy production. Every Francis Ford Coppola movie that's ever been made has some of the most like insane production stories you'll ever read.
I'm ready to go down that rabbit hole.
I think Apocalypse Now was more of the absolute bonkers, like begging George Lucas to buy his house from him so he could use the money to keep funding the movie.
Crazy.
Martin
Those stories
Sheen
you hear are wild.
Martin Sheen having a heart attack on set where they had a priest giving him his last rites.
Yes, I remember you telling me that.
Coppola literally tried to kill himself 4 or 5 times on set.
This sounds like my kind of fucking production.
I think his new film it's called like Megatropolis.
Megatropolis? It sounds like
Or Metrotropolis. Hold on.
Well, while Zach's looking it up, we can't have dead air. I already forgot how to fucking Megatropolis, Metrotropolis, whatever. For some reason, just rings to me in the same vein as like the Seth MacFarlane show. I think it's Seth MacFarlane, the Superstore. It's just like that's all I think of when I hear that name. Is that fucking sitcom or whatever you want to call it about people working at Walmart.
Megalopolis.
The next NBA superstar from Greek.
An architect wants to rebuild New York City as a utopia following a devastating disaster. But apparently, this movie is like almost millions upon millions of dollars over budget.
Classic.
And it might get to the point where it's so over budget they can't release it.
How does that work? How do you just spend too much money so you can't release the film?
Well, it's like with Batgirl.
But like
the amount of money that it was going to take to like fix it was not worth it, and they would just use it as a tax write-off.
I thought the film was completely done or whatever they said, and then they just decided to not release it because the CEO of whoever.
Well, apparently the news story is that it was so horrific that it couldn't be released. Isn't that what you said, Nicholas?
This sounds like Damage Control.
I mean, I wouldn't deny it. Reports came out that
Exact
early.
words were, "This film was."
Mm.
Oh no, this is the suspense.
We've been haunted by the technical difficulties again.
Say that again.
Yeah, we missed that, Nicholas.
No, I was just saying that he said that the film was, quote, unreleasable.
So what we got was his words. I quote. As
Yeah,
he just froze.
yeah.
Oh boy.
But Chase,
Not
they said
again.
apparently reports of test screenings of the new Aquaman
I heard it was
say that
really, really
it's
bad.
say that it's the worst DC film ever.
Oh my gosh. James Gunn can't get here soon enough. Oh my good night.
Which is actually
Yes.
sort of an accomplishment. If like the battle for worst DC film is so like neck and neck, to get crowned that before you're released is pretty admirable.
It's uncanny. It's uncanny. It's what it is.
Respectable.
But we're not here to talk about Aquaman. What
No,
you
anyway,
watching, Zach?
I was about to say.
Chase, you said you had a busy week. You didn't get to watch anything.
Let me think. Yeah, no, I didn't watch much of anything. Just like some random stuff. I think Emma and I streamed. I think we watched a documentary on the Murdaugh family from South Carolina. The dad who murdered his wife and son.
Allegedly.
No, fucking, he did it. He's
Is
actually
that the one on
testifying.
Netflix?
Yeah, he's testifying. Like, I think he testified yesterday.
Yeah, Abigail was telling me that she watched it and it was crazy.
Yeah, it's just.
Aren't they involved in like a couple different
Yeah.
cases?
Yeah, they probably killed at least 3 people in that town before he killed his wife and son, and then embezzled like, I think the number I saw was like over $10 million from his law firm.
Do they think that him and
Allegedly.
his family?
Oh no, that's been proven. The
Do they
embezzlement.
think him and his family did the killings, or was it just him?
They think so. Essentially, there was a young man in 2015 who was openly gay, and the oldest son allegedly, now this is actually alleged, had a relationship with the young man. And one night, the young man is found about I don't know how far it was, like 100 yards from his car, on this like car parked on the side of the road. Young man is laying in the middle of the road, and he had been bludgeoned to death. And the rumor was that the 2 sons beat him to death, and then the family covered it up. And then what the documentary kind of focuses on in the beginning is a boat crash that was caused by the youngest son. He was driving the boat, blackout drunk, and crashed it into a bridge and killed a girl. And then they go back to, I don't remember when, but apparently their housekeeper also died under mysterious circumstances. And now this is the part where the embezzlement is true. The father took out like a $4.5 million insurance claim on their house. Like a I don't know, like work, like a employer insurance, like employee insurance on the house a month before the housekeeper died. And apparently she just fell down the stairs and had broken like multiple ribs, and like her head was like shattered.
That stuff happens. It happens.
Yeah. But the thing was, he took out a claim against that insurance for her sons, and then the sons never got paid out, but he got $4.3 million from the insurance that he kept to himself. He misappropriated the funds. But then yeah, he shot and killed his wife and son.
Oof.
It happens. You know, just
It
a quirky.
happened. Allegedly, Chase.
Allegedly.
We don't wanna get
Allegedly.
sued for defamation of character.
If this fucker comes after this podcast, you know how big we'll get from it? I'll take the L.
So that's all you've been watching?
Yeah, that was it.
Abigail and I were on a bit of a Pedro Pascal binge, so I finally got to watch The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Very good,
I
huh?
wanted to watch that so bad.
I had to take out a free trial on Stars. I already canceled it.
Attaboy.
Canceled it.
Already canceled it. Good. Was it good?
It was pretty good. A bit above average. Had some funny moments. If you're not a Nick Cage fan, I do think he gives a pretty nuanced performance in this one, being
Good.
himself as a washed up actor. But they had a
Okay.
pretty interesting twist at the end, or at the beginning of the third act. And then, I had my 7 days of stars for free. I rewatched Immortals. Did you ever see that? The Henry Cavill.
No, I have
It's
no idea what the
Mm-mm.
fuck.
it's the Henry Cavill plays Theseus, and it's a retelling of King Hyperion trying to kill the gods and unleash the Titans.
Oh, I do know this film. My dad loves this film.
It's okay story wise, but it's actually, I didn't realize, because I watched it as a kid and I was like, cool, big strong guy beating up and killing people, so cool. But it's actually a very like artistically thought out set design, and it's like minimalist, but also like
Wait, does Theseus slay the Minotaur in this?
it's a man with a bull's helmet, but
Cringe.
it's also has like abstract sets and expressionist designs. It's actually pretty cool visually. So if y'all have stars, go. At least the first hour was pretty cool.
Oh, I have something else. I was watching. I started reading the Odyssey for whatever
Ooh.
reason. I just decided to start reading the Odyssey, and then I'm
Are
gonna
you
read
getting?
the
Are you
Iliad.
reading like the actual
No, no, no,
actually
no, no,
in
no, no,
poem
no.
form?
No, I'm not reading the epic poem. I'm reading
Oh, you're reading Percy
a
Jackson.
no, no, I'm not. I know you sent me that thing. I meant to reply about the new book in the series, which I'm going to read. But no, Emma bought the Odyssey like a few months ago. She bought
You
the
know, the
Odyssey and
Odyssey
the
is the
Iliad.
sequel to the Iliad.
I know, I'm reading them backwards because the Iliad was longer, and I just wanted to see if I could. I wanted to see because I know like narratively, like the structure of the book is not really anything like a book written today. It's very like
I had to read the Aeneid. I'm not the Aeneid.
the Iliad.
I did read. I did read the
Iliad.
Aeneid, but I read the Iliad. It's pretty challenging.
Yeah, that's
Like
I
I read
wanted
it
to.
in like its translated form.
I read it. I'm reading it in the translated form. The author wrote like a note in the beginning, and he was like, "I this is not a direct translation. I tried to spice it up as much as I could, but I did not change the structure of the way the story was written at all." And so I'm like maybe 20 pages in, and it is a little tough.
So is it broken down like in the poem, like
It's broken.
stanzas?
Yeah. Well, no, it's written. I mean, it's structured like a normal book, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's broken up into the books
Okay.
of the Odyssey. Like I'm
Because
still reading book one.
we read the Iliad and then the Aeneid. The Aeneid is long as fudge.
Yeah, the Iliad is probably two or three. The copy we have is like 2 or 3 times as long as the Odyssey. So I said, "Fuck it, I'll read the Odyssey first because it's like probably 300 pages."
But I'm back on my Roman history shit. About my third book on Roman history.
And I stay on my Greek history shit. So I guess my Greek mythology shit.
Well, that's why
I'm reading the complete
love-
history of Rome.
I love how you guys are reading the Odyssey, the Iliad, Roman history, and I'm over here reading about Superman punching Metallo in the face for the 50,000th time.
Hey, comic books are for children, Nicholas.
I will
Hold on,
never
dude.
apologize.
This is what I just finished reading. How you like that? Huh?
Ooh, what a picture
Love
to
it.
pull up.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just happened to pull up. I binked a really good panel from Kaiju number 8. It's a good manga.
Kaiju, plug it. There you go.
Yeah, it's a good manga. I've only read like, I think the first 10 volumes, but I enjoyed it. Or not volumes, 10, whatever. Yeah, volumes. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know manga terms. Anyway,
Anyway.
here comes the intro music. All right.
And we're back.
And we're back. We're here. Welcome back to the closed screening again.
Um,
I like that. We binked
So
that.
I got my my best picture noms right up on the screen right here.
Oh, let me.
So obviously we're not going to be discussing Woman Talking, Triangle of Sadness, or Tar. Mark my words. It's Sunday, February 26th. by next episode, I will watch Triangle of Sadness and Woman Talking, so I can at least give our viewers a complete Oscar picture.
Look at
When
that.
is the Oscars?
He does it for you, the viewers.
March 12th. So we have 2 more episodes. So you already said I was just.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh,
We do it for the people.
So let's just start up alphabetical. Do we want to just touch on All Quiet on the Western Front, Nicholas? Since we're doing
Yes.
our little
Let's
overview
do it.
of films
Gosh,
we
I
can't
love that
dedicate a
film.
full episode.
Love that film. I really do. The more I think about it, like out of all the nominees on that list, something about that film sticks with you. And it's certainly because it's such a gruesome film, but I know I said it last time, but how can they keep doing war movies and keep sucking me in every time? Like, seriously.
Looking at the
Just when they
list,
think I'm out, they pull me back in.
it's so interesting to me that we have All Quiet on the Western Front on the same list as Best Picture as Top Gun Maverick,
Yeah.
when
What?
they could not be more like different depictions of war.
You mean one film that glorifies, the harrowing battles? Sometimes you just have to have a sexy volleyball match, or no, excuse me, sexy dogfight football match with your boys. And then I haven't seen All Quiet on the Western Front, but I'm sure it's harrowing and gruesome and sad.
And then sometimes you have to steal a hen or a goose. Geese? What do they
Geese.
steal?
Yeah.
Goslings?
There, yeah. They
Goosen?
whatever it is. Yeah.
Is it a duck or a goose?
I want to say a goose.
I feel like we're getting hung up on the
can't
wrong
remember
stuff. I feel like
now.
we're getting hung up on the
Yeah,
wrong.
we are.
The wrong part of that.
Yeah, but
If we're doing kind of rapid fire overviews of some of these films, I really wish this is one that I could have seen in the movie theater because I thought the cinematography was exquisite, like immaculate. I feel like that's the case for most war movies anyway. But if you want to, when you think of a Best Picture film or a film that you enjoy, certainly visually, this film does it for you. The relationships between the characters and the traumatic experiences they go through, it makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it makes you think. Like, it does everything that I feel like a good story should. So it's hard to explain. It's the full course meal. It's a full course meal is what it is.
yeah, and it really hits you with all like the pathos that it can throw at you. You're left just.
And it's
like
a different
clutching your
perspective.
chest at the end of the film, because
Yeah, and exactly. And like I said, we usually get the American or the winning side perspective, I guess, in these war movies, right? Like the Allied powers in World War II, or whatever the case is. But in this case, you're getting it from the German perspective, and I think that's really important. Obviously, it's not a new concept, but I don't know. It adds some extra levity to the whole picture.
Yeah, and I think this film does a great job of showing just how like futile war truly is, and like
Oh yeah,
just how World War I in and of itself encapsulates that as a whole, because they're literally fighting for inches of space to dig a trench,
right.
and by the end
It's
of the
one of
film,
those.
they've done nothing. They've literally done
Yes.
nothing, and it gets every
It's-
single character you meet killed by the end of the film.
It's the type of film you wish that like you could show every world leader, so that something like that never happens. You're right. Like, why do we do this? And it makes you realize, like, I know for me when I'm watching this film, I'm like, there's no way. Like, if you go back in time and I'm placed in that situation, I'm dead. That's a horrible. Like, war is hell.
It's all luck. Like, especially in this kind of war, when you're in a trench and if you pop your head up at 10:51, you're safe, but the guy who pops his head up at 10:52 gets shot in the head and killed.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
also,
and like
point on
most
the world
my final thing I'll
leaders.
say on this too, as much as this.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We lost
Go
you
on.
for a second.
Go on.
No, go
I
ahead.
was say the
We
point about
lost-
the world leaders, Nicholas. I don't think that they would care, because you see that man in the position of power and his own ego and pride. He's so like hurt that the war's coming to an end that he sends half of his troops to knowingly die 15 minutes before the ceasefire.
That's a good point.
So
That's a good point.
I don't know.
The final thing I'll say about this film is, like most of these Best Picture nominees, the humor works for me. Like, it really, It's something about, I don't know if my eyes have just become open to noticing like humor at the right time, the right place for these films, but the use of humor was spare but super effective every time. And in those moments where you need to breathe in the film, it that opening's there and it gives it to you, and it's awesome. Again,
Mhm.
a full course meal. Highly recommend it. Would not be upset if it wins the Oscar for that. Truthfully,
Can we get a rating before we move on?
give me 8.6.
Zach. Oh,
Let's see. Did
What's-
I watch it this year?
um,
I gave it an 8.2.
well, before we move on, it is time for everybody's favorite segment. Future me, play my music. It's time for Chase's Tangent. Nicholas, I noticed you'd said that you wished every world leader would see a film like this, so that this wouldn't happen again. This happened almost 100 years ago. The wars today, they're not going to be put out on the. You're not digging tent trenches. You're not on the battlefield. You're not even going to be holding a gun. You're playing League of Legends, or you're playing Overwatch against some 8-year-old from China, and he's going to be taking your head off in the virtual battle space. All right, there's not going to be any more horrors of war or anything like that. The horror is going to be when you throw on that VR headset and you get popped in the dome by a Russian dude named Igor. All right, that was Chase's Tangent. Thank you for listening. I decided to add this in randomly. All right, we can move on now.
Love it.
Also, well, you're forgetting about World War II, Nicholas. So this did happen again.
Yeah, but this
IRL.
movie wasn't made yet, Zach.
I know.
Obviously.
I'm
hate you
kidding.
all. I hate you all.
When was the first All Quiet on the Western Front released? Like 1926?
Sure. I have no idea.
1930.
Wait,
9 years before
1930.
World War II started. So
Oof.
didn't work.
Yikes.
Okay. We can do this real quick into Avatar: The Way of Water.
All right,
We've already talked about it. Go listen to our podcast. Just what do we think it could win Best Picture?
No, not at all. I think that the story is not nearly good enough for it to be justified. That's my thoughts. I think the story is very basic and stripped down, and nothing really substantial, in my opinion, that would warrant it winning Best Picture. The visuals alone are not enough.
What about the technology? What about the future of filmmaking?
I don't care.
Like, did you watch? Have you seen any of the stuff from like Black Panther? That water scenes look nowhere near as good. It's the future.
Oh my gosh. When you compare it, it's night and day. It's insane.
You know,
Avatar represents, just like the first Avatar was, maybe it was a basic story. Maybe it kind of doesn't hold up, but it represents the future of what filmmaking can make possible.
that's awesome. The problem is that this isn't best film with really cool technology for the future. This is Best Picture. It wasn't the Best Picture that came out last year.
I think they have a category called
Just call it the James Cameron fucking Cool Tech Award.
they have visual
effects. Yeah,
which this
There you
will win,
go.
which
No.
I think is enough.
Yeah.
I don't think it should.
It definitely should not win Best Picture.
It being up there is enough of an honor.
How much have you guys thought about this film since it came out?
Not at all.
You know, I was just talking about it at my my soccer game last Wednesday. They asked if it was good, and I said, if you can spare the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It comes up sparingly.
If-
I think I have to agree. Visually, it's a masterpiece. I love some of the themes presented and the universal themes behind family in the film, but I don't think it's worthy of Best Picture.
I don't know. I could see myself watching All Quiet on the Western Front again. The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I've already seen it a couple times. The Fablemans, maybe not Tar. We'll talk about that next week. Not Top Gun for a whole different reason. But I don't think I don't know if I can watch Avatar again. Maybe I could watch clips of Avatar
I saw it twice within 2 weeks.
in 5 years when it's on TBS. Maybe I can turn it on for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think if someone said, Zach, will you come watch Avatar with me tonight? I'd say, I don't think. No, I'm not gonna do that.
I think
Yeah.
the only way I'd watch this film again is if, like, in the theaters, is if someone paid for my ticket and it was in one of the fucking, like, really nice theaters with the really comfy seats where I can kick back and then they can bring me some food.
I would go see it in 4D. If they had it
The-
in 4D, I would go
oh,
see it.
I'm just gonna get. It's
I was
just
about
gonna
to
feel like you're
say,
getting spit on the whole time.
They just submerge the theater in water and you drown.
You're doing the fucking David Blaine thing where you're just
They give you an oxygen tank and
holding
you're
your
just...
you're holding your breath.
I will say seeing it in 3D high frame rate was pretty sick. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, imagine watching that in 4D. The part where the youngest son almost dies when he was running away from that predator fish. You can get thrown around in your seat.
So Chase, has your rating changed since we reviewed the film?
Keep it a buck with everybody listening. I don't remember what I rated it, but no. I think I rated it like a 6.7.
You were in like the mid-sixes.
Yeah, 6.5, whatever. That seems about right.
Chase?
Sticking to it. What?
I mean, Nicholas, my bad.
Oh.
Yeah, with more time away from it, I think originally I gave it maybe a 9.1.
That's
Put me
high.
down
That's
for an 8.
high.
It was high. It put me down for an 8.7, somewhere around there.
Because I had it at an 8.2 originally, but I think I'm going to drop it down to an 8.0. 8 flat.
So you heard it here first, folks. Avatar's dropping.
Maybe I think I need to review.
If you still
Maybe
have
once every
any
6 months, I need to come back and review my reviews, and then review my review of my review.
Yeah, I love
you're
it.
gonna spiral. If you have Avatar, if you have any Avatar 2 stock time to sell, what's next?
So y'all can now talk about
Elvis.
Elvis.
Elvis. Let me tell you something about Elvis. That boy.
Go Chase, please.
He's white, guys. I see that clip on Twitter every day because I follow a guy who tweets about baseball, and he tweets that all the time for some reason about different players, which feels weird. Yeah, this film's not gonna win Best Picture. It's all right. I mean, Acts 2 and 3 are good. Act 1 is a lesson in how to not do pacing. Visually, it's all right. I think I don't remember if the songs were covers of Elvis's music or if they just straight up put in his old songs. But if they were covers, I mean, Austin Butler, he did a pretty fucking good job singing Elvis songs. Or if they had some like an impersonator singing them, I don't know. Whoever sung the songs did a good job. I thought the performances, in this film were all in all pretty good. Story kind of hard to fuck up. It's Elvis's life. He had a pretty eclectic and crazy life. But yeah, I mean, this is not gonna win Best Picture. Maybe like some kind of music award. Maybe one of the music
I
categories.
think it'll win costume design.
Yeah, probably. There isn't even nominated. It's not even nominated for any of the musical awards.
Thanks. Yeah, Elvis has been the same to me since I first saw it, and in fact, the more I think about it, I'll be real. I think Tom Hanks really drugged that film down for me. I don't know if it was the way he did the character or if it was just that character in general. No matter what the situation was, I wasn't a fan. It was not working for me, and it really bummed me out. I don't know. Give me up on Elvis.
I don't remember what I rated it, but probably like a 7.1, 6.8, somewhere in that range.
I feel like all of Baz Luhrmann's films since CGI was invented look the same.
Yeah.
Like crop out a scene from that movie and put it into The Great Gatsby, and it would look identical.
I think
if you could fit it in.
I think the only thing would be different, like the colorist, whatever colorist did these two films, you might have some serious jarring differences, but that's it. Yeah, like CG wise.
For some reason, when I think of The Great Gatsby, I just think of the color yellow.
Yeah, it's like sepia, like grayish sepia.
And if it was Elvis not like that from the trailer, it seemed like it was.
No, it was pretty colorful. It was fairly vibrant, I would say. But I might just be remembering the first act, which felt kind of colorful. Go ahead,
It
Nicholas.
was certainly that first act was very vibrant. No, that first act was very colorful and vibrant. But I think the whole film was. I had no problem with the
Mhm.
the visual aesthetics of the film. The last thing I'll say about this one, and I guess I should say about all the films we've talked about so far, way too long. These films are way too long.
You know who we can blame for all these long films? Avengers Endgame.
Shaking my head, Marvel.
I
They
saw
put a 3-hour movie into theaters, and then everyone thought they could do it.
I saw a tweet. I don't remember when, but it was something along the lines of like, every movie nowadays is too long. We need to go back to the campy, weird 90-minute features. And then someone immediately replied and said, "Have you heard of Cocaine Bear?" And to which I said,
96 minutes.
We need more. We need more Cocaine Bears. Just
I will
weird,
be
goofy,
seeing
short.
Cocaine Bear on Tuesday night.
Oh fuck! I gotta find time. I don't know when I'm gonna watch
Yeah.
that.
We got to get on it, Chase.
I'll just go during my lunch break or something and just work extra. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Go at like a 9:50 showing at your local theater on like a Tuesday night.
Be the only one in there.
I'm the only person that ever goes to my theaters. It's so nice. It's a little creepy when you go to a horror film.
Oh, dude, I'm sure.
You're like, maybe this theater is alive and trapped me in here.
All right, I want to move on to
Also
the Fablemans, Zach.
Oh, okay. Whew. Oh no. Ratings.
6-8.
Ugh. Yeah, put me down for a 5.7.
Sound
The Fablemans. If you're an avid listener of the Close Screening podcast on
Here we go.
Spotify, Apple Podcast,
Overcast.
Overcast, you'll know that I have a bit of an affinity for Steven Spielberg. But me and him went through a bit of a rough patch when he told the world he was no longer directing Indiana Jones 5. Which I think I'm still a little hung up on, seeing these new trailers. And just the trailers maybe make me believe that maybe it could be good. But as good as it could be, it could never be as good as if he went back and did it. But then I go on a nice crisp December day before Christmas and go watch The Fablemans at my pretty expensive theater. Kick the feet up, order a drink, and just watch the movie. Blown away. I forgave Steven Spielberg in that moment. He's reminded us as a collective race of men and women of why we go to the movies. Why do we want to live in a world where there's so much anger and hate, but then we go in that dark room with hundreds of seats, crowd together and watch magic unfold. It's beautiful. What a film. Maybe the second, I think I had it only, it is my number 4 film I saw in the year 2022, but the second best film from that year. At an 8.7.
Behind Blade Runner?
Behind Blade Runner, Boogie Nights, and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm.
Well, if you, I don't know how you can hear that and not want to go watch that film.
Dude, you make me want to run through a brick wall for
Yeah,
Steven Spielberg
honestly,
right now.
what a stunning monologue.
After you
there-
and Chase gave the award to James Cameron in that podcast episode from a year ago,
This film
know,
wasn't out yet.
Sweeties.
This film wasn't out yet, Nicholas.
This film wasn't out yet.
We made that episode before the film was out yet.
I was still screaming internally when I was listening to that one.
Did we give
But-
it to James Cameron? I thought we gave it overall
I
to Steven
thought we
Spielberg.
gave it to
I'm pretty sure
Spielberg.
I think we gave a decade or two to Cameron, but we gave it overall to Spielberg. I'm pretty sure.
Y'all, to remind you for a second, y'all literally wanted to give James Cameron a decade that he didn't even produce a movie in.
That's because Spielberg put it like nothing but shitters, right?
That's what the argument was, which is
Zero?
a bad
Wasn't it-
argument.
Zero
Yeah,
is
I mean-
greater than -5. All right, there's my argument. Zero is
Dude,
greater
it
than
is
negative
true.
5.
You gave Cameron a decade. He didn't even do anything.
You telling me we gave him the 2010s?
Yeah,
Yes.
That's because Spielberg put out like 10. Hold on, let me fucking. Nope, we're not doing this. We're not
Spielberg
tangenting.
produced Tintin.
Yeah, we're not.
Robert
We're not.
Zemeckis made Tintin.
We're not
Everyone
going on
go
a
back
tangent.
and listen to that episode. Serious audience members, go back and listen. It
Okay.
is ridiculous.
The conversation is much more tight than I originally presumed. Because the films that the difference between James Cameron and Spielberg is Spielberg,
It's quality versus quantity.
but so Spielberg, I think he has a much better understanding of how to make a good film. James Cameron knows how to make money.
James Cameron knows how to make an event. Spielberg
He knows how to
make
put
a
a
good
movie
film.
out that will get butts in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
Spielberg is more of I'm going to cultivate this thing and bring you
Yeah.
something of great quality. But Spielberg says Terminator
Just-
1. How about Terminator 2?
Look. For
How about
any,
Aliens
For
2?
any music fan, it's fucking James Spielberg is your Kendrick Lamar, your J. Cole's. They're the conscious rapper that put out music that everyone goes, wow, like you might win a Pulitzer Prize. And then fucking James Cameron is Drake. He's Nicki Minaj. He's Beyonce. All right, he is commercially successful, and there's a lot to be said about that.
Last thing I'll say about the Fabelmans is Gabriel LaBelle is going to be a star. He plays Sammy. And then Julia Butters plays his little sister. She was, have y'all seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yes.
Yeah,
Who is
She's-
she? In
She's
that movie?
the little girl that is working on that
I know what you're
the
talking about.
movie with
Oh, with Leo.
the little
Mhm.
girl.
Oh yeah.
She was in the Ryan Gosling one from
The Gray Man.
The Gray Man, yeah. But she did really well. All the young actors played their characters well. Even Seth Rogen played his character Benny really well as a more sort of a comedic relief, but had some pretty good dramatic moments in there.
Oh.
I don't think this will win, but I would love it if it did.
Well, I need to watch it.
Last and certainly least, in Zach's eyes, we have Top Gun Maverick to talk about today. What is there to be said about the military propaganda? What is there to be said about the hot, sweaty boys playing dogfight football? What is there to be said about the enemy that is the Russians? Nothing really new. There's nothing we can say that isn't been said before, and that probably wouldn't be derivative of something else. It's not gonna win. It is a pretty good story, I'll be honest.
Bro.
Still. Hi, Ziggy. Welcome back. Ziggy is trying. I think Ziggy is a government operative, and he's trying to interrupt my monologue about.
Bro just
Why?
woke up from his 6-hour nap.
But yeah, no, I mean this one's not gonna win. It's all right. It's nothing special.
When my girlfriend's military man walked out of this film hating it.
Your girlfriend's like Abigail's dad.
Abigail's dad hated this movie, and he's lifelong military pilot.
Interesting.
You know, you've done it wrong. I as a film, it was just very derivative of the first one. It's the same movie as the first one, mixed with Luke Skywalker's trench run.
That's a good way to. That's a really good way to put it. I
It
think
did nothing new, which I guess that's the essence of a remake. Hollywood thinks that we want more of the same.
Well,
Force Awakens is just
Sorry,
New
yeah.
Hope. Female
was-
Ghostbusters is just Ghostbusters with girls. This is just Top Gun.
My fucking America loving family members sure did love this film, though. Let me tell you what.
And like it's
I think, well, so to go off Chase, if I agree 100% with everything both of you said. If I may play devil's advocate for a brief minute here, because there's a conversation I can't remember where I heard it from the other day where people were talking about this idea of Top Gun being nominated for Best Picture. I do think there is something, because we know that Hollywood can be very artsy fartsy, prestigious. There's a certain, for a long time now, for 2-3 decades, there's an expectation of what a Best Picture film winner looks like. I do commend them for including a film that certainly, even though your personal opinions aside, whatever you feel about the film, whether you loved it or hated it, it certainly struck a nerve with the American public. I mean, it certainly
Mhm.
overperformed and was, by most accounts, an entertaining film. I found myself thoroughly entertained despite
Yeah.
all the things that we just said. And again, I 100% agree with everything you and Chase said.
Yeah.
Um, so I think I'm glad they put it on there just because it is like, yeah, the best picture was the one that everyone went to see and was raving about for all summer.
I think if we want to get into that, I mean, best is it's an adjective in who defines what makes it the best. Is it the best because are we choosing the best film that performed, commercially? Because then Avatar 2 wins. If it is the best film cinematically, it could be most of these films. If it's the best story, in my opinion, that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think trying to give a very kind of simplistic definition of what best is kind of, it may, it doesn't make, it's foolish. It's a fool's errand, and that's why they have voters, and that's why this shit is people that know a lot more about art fucking films than me vote on this shit. But
Well, and I do think there's something to say about in the uncertain times that we live in. Everyone's got their fingers hovered over the nuclear buttons. I do think there is. I think the masses want a film that sort of reaffirms that America is up for the fight. We'll take it to where it needs to go, and we're not going to roll over. We're the military country that we've always been, and I do think that resonates with a lot of people as a sort of okay, like we're good.
listen,
And
to all the masses out there who are worried about how we'll fare in a fucking military fight, we spend more than any country on this planet on our military. We've spent almost $2 trillion on a plane that still isn't able to fly. I saw that on a TikTok. Don't fucking fact check me. No, but apparently there's some plane prototype that they've been spent almost $2 trillion on that still has not been able to fly. Ow. You don't need to worry. All right. We have laser guns and shit in the military. It's all right. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about the fucking military industrial complex in this country. I hate it.
And I also
See,
think there's something to the fact that this, and many people that work in the industry say that this film saved theaters.
including Steven
So,
Spielberg.
and
James
I
Cameron.
mean, coming out of the pandemic, people obviously weren't going to the theaters, and then this film comes out that have been postponed like 2 separate times. So
Right.
I do think it's like you said, it's not going to win. It was never going to win.
Sure.
It's a nod to like thanks for helping all us other movies out, because I don't know if Avatar does as well as it did if there wasn't a Top Gun that came out in July, getting people back into the theaters. I mean, probably, but who knows?
Well, the message from this episode is support your local theater. Go in there, patronize the establishment.
Unless it's AMC, don't go to AMC's. They're trying to price poor people out of the movies.
All right, well, fuck AMC. Go to any other movie theater. And when you go there, fucking treat it with respect. Don't throw popcorn down on the floor, because then people have to sweep it out, and those are just fucking high school kids. Patronize your local mom and pop theaters. There you go. Your neighbor Bill on the streets hosting a movie night. Just show up at his front door. Who cares?
So we've talked our movies to death. So I'm gonna throw an idea out with you boys for an upcoming episode after Tar.
All right.
This is for the audience too. So I've been compiling a list of directors, actors, and what we're gonna do is we're going to have a little build your own movie draft where we will do a little random number generator for each of us. That's the pick we get. And we're going to pick a director, a studio to fund the movie, director, maybe we could do cinematographer. Maybe that's too technical. I'm sure if you looked up, we could do.
Sure.
We'll do like composer. We all know some famous composers. We'll do one male lead, one female lead, and then we'll do 2 or 3 supporting actors. We'll do a genre, and we'll see who can come up with the best sort of
Film.
roster.
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to add on to that is to kind of give a brief, maybe like a brief little synopsis of what that film would be like once you have your whole team assembled.
After you draft your team, well, maybe we'll give you a couple minutes to
We'll give an exercise in improv.
an improv. It's like Chase picks Timothy Chalamet and Angelina Jolie to star in a western directed by Wes Anderson, funded by Disney.
God,
What's that looking like?
That's all right. So I'm thinking Timothy Chalamet is going to be like sort of the boy toy for Angelina Jolie. She's obviously the star, the leading role. She is the bandit and the outlaw, and Timothy Chalamet is going to be her little bumbling sidekick, kind of a LeFou and Gaston relationship, if you will. That's how I see that going.
Related back to Disney. There you go.
But is it a children's movie?
No, they say the word fuck at least 4 times.
So they're outsourcing it to probably Fox Searchlight.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
All right, is that it?
I think that's it for us. Tell them where to find us, Zachary.
Of course, I got it right here.
Naturally.
So if you're scrolling through Twitter and need a new follower, we're not going to follow you back probably. But you can follow us at Close Screening. If you don't know how you'd be listening to this if you weren't listening to it on a podcast site, but it's the Close Screening. If you're on TikTok and get bored, we might be posting more TikTok soon at the Close Screening. And then if you're trying to subscribe to more channels on YouTube, find us at the Close Screening Podcast.
I think that's about everything. We'll see you guys next week when we talk about Tar. Probably, hopefully, I'll watch it. Bye.
Adios.
See ya.